I knew something was off when my kids said they were visiting Grandma 3 times a week, and Grandma lived 2 hours away. Turns out, while I was working to keep our family afloat, my wife was in a sleazy motel with a high school ex. But I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I hired a private investigator, and what happened next shattered her world and completely destroyed his. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, someone you built a life with, then this story is for you. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more real-life revenge that hits deep, and get ready to watch karma do its job in the most satisfying way possible. IT was the early 2000s. Flip phones, dial-up internet. OL still making that EO sound when you connected. I had 2 little kids, 4 and 6 years old, and a wife I thought I knew. But something wasn't right. Our boys started talking about visiting Grandma and Grandpa way too often. Her parents lived 90 minutes away, and apparently she was taking them there 2 or 3 times every week. It didn't make sense. She only worked part-time, and the drive was long and tiring. When I brought up casually at first, she got defensive, said I was being paranoid, that she just wanted the kids to bond with their grandparents. But here's the thing, she's always been a terrible liar. I started checking the mileage on her car, not obsessively, just casually jotting down numbers each time she came home. Week by week, the mileage grew, 400 extra miles a week. That's no quick grocery run or spontaneous trip to Target. That's intentional travel, regular, patterned. And I just knew, she was hiding something. Then one day, she made the mistake that blew everything open. She left a sticky note on the desk, right next to the keyboard, her AOL password, like a neon sign saying, "Hey, want to see your life fall apart? Log in here." I shouldn't have, but I did. Her inbox was full of casual emails, normal mom stuff. But then I found the gold mine, conversations with her college BFF. And they weren't subtle. They talked about how she was regularly hooking up with her high school ex-boyfriend. I didn't even know this guy existed until that moment. She said he was married too, and laughed about how his wife had gotten fat after having kids. Reading those words made my hands shake. My vision blurred. My heartbeat echoed in my ears. She was mocking another woman while doing this to our family? I printed every damning message, every email, every joke, every detail. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed more. That a close friend of mine is a cop. When I told him everything, he put me in touch with Ron, a retired officer who had gone into private investigation. Ron was calm, professional, and ruthless in the best way. I handed over the emails, told him what little I knew, and he went to work. A week later, I had a dossier thicker than a phone book. Photos, timelines, motels, license plate timestamps. He'd tracked her from dropping off the kids at her parents' house to meeting the guy at a cheap motel and then driving home as if nothing had happened. Same routine. Every single time. My stomach turned. But I didn't lose control. I got focused. Ron wasn't done yet. He dug into the guy. Let's call him Bob. Turns out Bob was married. 3 kids. Lived with his wife in a house owned by her parents. Even better, he worked as a VP at her dad's company. A family man, supposedly. A businessman. A liar. That's when the idea came to me. Not just to end my marriage, but to burn this man's entire world to the ground. First, I hired a lawyer. Divorce papers were drawn up. Ron prepped 2 final copies of his report, one for the court and one for her. But there was a 3rd copy too, and that one was for Bob's wife. It all happened in a single day. One beautifully orchestrated takedown. At exactly 10:30 a.m., my wife was served at her job with divorce papers and evidence of the affair. The look on her face, according to a co-worker, was pure white shock. She had no idea it was coming. At the same time, Ron walked up the front steps of Bob's family home. His wife answered the door holding a toddler. Ron introduced himself and calmly handed her the report. The look on her face? Pure heartbreak. Then rage that MY divorce was clean. Quick. Since infidelity didn't legally matter in our state, it didn't change the outcome, but it made everything emotionally easier. I made it clear, We'd only speak about the kids. Nothing more. Now that they're grown, we don't talk at all. She's just a ghost in my past. But Bob, his life crumbled in spectacular fashion. His wife cleaned out their joint accounts, took the kids, moved in with her parents. Her father, Bob's boss, fired him immediately. No severance, no second chances. And since her parents own the house, yep, evicted. Within weeks, he was jobless, homeless, and facing a brutal custody battle. Then came the cherry on top. Bob made the mistake of going back to the house and trying to talk things out. It escalated. Her brother showed up and broke his nose. Restraining orders were filed. Court documents showed a string of police reports. Allegations of harassment, assault, even jail time. I kept my distance. But every update I found online was just more proof that karma doesn't miss. Bob thought he could sneak around, thought he could wreck 2 families and walk away unscathed. But he underestimated the wrong guy. He lost his job, his house, his family, his reputation, everything. And last I heard, he left the state. No trace online. Just vanished. Meanwhile, his ex-wife took over her father's company, raised their kids, and built a better life without him. Some people say revenge isn't worth it, that it's best to just walk away. But sometimes justice needs a little push. I didn't scream. I didn't throw things. I let the truth and some well-timed planning do the damage. And honestly, I've never slept better. If this story hit you in the heart, or anywhere lower, smash that like button and drop a comment below. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen or heard?